Hello, everybody. It's the Saints man, small van driver on the CX. Just a short one this time. It's not about the week of the life. It's just one about the van that I run. Um, a lot of guys run different vans. You've got small Citroen Berlingos, Peugeots, combos. I think small van. He runs a Berlingo, I think. Whereas Andy from AB Logistics, he's got a combo, really nice van. I know Neil Neptune had I think he originally had a combo, and I think he swapped to an automatic Citroen, which is a really nice van. Um, I've got a Citroen Berlingo. I've got a 1.5, whatever they are, HDI. Mine was 2018. It was the last of the older model shape before they moved over. I've had my van almost a year. I got it on February the 28th last year. So we're virtually a year. It had done 34,700 and it's now done 103,000. So it's done virtually 70,000 I've done. The guy that had it before me, he was a wildlife photographer and took videos in Scotland, all over these mountains and that. That's what it's got. Running bars along the side. It's got upgraded springs. It's even got a upgraded, remapped engine. It was 75 horsepower. It's 120 mapped. That's why I don't get quite as much fuel efficiency, but I've got lots of grunt. It's pretty nippy. Ideal. And it was kitted out inside. It spent over £1,000 kitting it out with. It's got RDCs in it. It's got plugs. It's got beautiful felt, hardboarded, really nice. And I've got kit that it was hardboarded. The bottom was, there was a bit above it, whole shelves that opened up, all felted, which I've took out. Obviously, I've kept them because they're quite handy to come to sell it. I had issues with it. I hadn't had it long, and I had a fault with the AdBlue. I'd had it about 2 months, and then an AdBlue fault come up. It said it hadn't got any AdBlue in it. It had got AdBlue in it, and then it told me it would stop the engine after 700 miles and was doing a countdown, which was a bit of a pain. So I give it to my mechanic Darren, who does my work for me, Daz, and he says there's a fault on the AdBlue pump, and he says the pump's inside the AdBlue tank, and it's a bloody massive cost. He says, but to be sure, he says, take it to Citroen. He says, you may get a diagnostics, they may be able to do something, and it was a good job he did, because it was the AdBlue tank, AdBlue pump, and they replaced it under warranty. It had a 5-year warranty on it, and this was 3 years, 3 years and 2 months. So all they charged me was for the diagnostics and a bit of labour. It was 100 and something quid, nearly 140 quid plus VAT. And the pump was actually, I think it was 1,200 quid to 1,400 quid, because it had to have a new tank, because they just replaced the lot. So that's the only issue I've had, as in outside of maintenance. It got 12 months MOT when I got it. He MOT it the day before I had it. I picked it up in Berwick-on-Pond, Tweed. He lived just on the Scottish borders, and he met me there at a train station. I got the train up. It's a good price. I didn't pay over the top for it. I didn't pay any VAT on it because he was private as well. He weren't VAT registered. So I got it for a really good price. Happy with the price. And I got it for 8,500. 8,500, that was all in. And it was 2 years old when I got it. And no VAT. So I've run it for a year. I try to estimate how much I was going to spend on costs, tyres, blah blah blah. You can't. You can have a guess, and I had a guess at £2,000, all in. That was for MOT, tyres, servicing, anything else that cropped up. It didn't include insurance or tax, which is completely separate. It was just the variable cost it was going to be. I sort of budgeted 2,000, and what I did, my van gets serviced every 15,000, oil change, air filters, and it just gets inspected. My mate does it for a really good price. It's 160 quid, 165 I think, all in, and that's all the filters, blah blah blah, just the servicing, and he runs it, and it's sweet. So it's had 4 services, and a service and an MOT is due. No, the MOT was done. So it's had 4 services and MOT. It's had a water pump replacement and cam belt, which it's just had. We did it. It said it could go to 120,000, but I have seen vans. It's got the same engine as the Peugeot and the Combo, and there's vans that have snapped a cam belt at 85, 90,000, and it's a game over if that happens. And the average is around 100, so 110. So I got mine done. It had done 100,000. I got it done last week, maybe the week before, last week. So I've got a new cam belt on it, and obviously they change all the antifreeze and all that, and it's running sweet. Touch wood, sweet as a nut. It's always running sweet. That cost me altogether 340 to get all that done. Something else he done and all. He did a fuel pipe as well. There was a fuel pipe on it that it's about that long, something between, and there was a fault on it, and he done that as well. So yeah, pretty much that's the maintenance side of it. And tyres, I have gone through 2 sets of tyres. Yeah, I'm on my 3rd set. It got a bit of tyre left on it where we're at it. I put budget tyres on it. I haven't on the front. The front's got decent ones on at the moment. The front wears about more than the back. Front wheel drive, and I've put 2 sets on, and my tyres average out at about 55 quid. 110 for 2, so it's 220 all in. It's about 220 quid, so it's 440 quid. But I put some expensive ones on the front. The front needed doing, and I forget where I had it done. It was somewhere near Brighton. I was down in Brighton way, and I knew they needed doing. Wherever I am, I'm working. If the tyres, if they're on the limit, I'll go to there. I've got a place in Northampton that does them, but if I'm not in Northampton, I'll go and find somewhere and say, what sort of tyres you got, how much, blah, blah. And I paid, got some really decent ones on the front in the winter, before the winter, and they was like 90 quid a corner. So it was 180 quid all in. So I have done a quick workout in my head, and it's about £2,000. It's about £2,000. I may be looking at more than that. But I don't think so. I think it's about £2,000 all in. Can't think of anything else that it will cost. And I think next year will be the same. I had a big service on it. One of the services was big service. It had to have brake pads, suspension arms, and brake discs. Discs, pads and arms. Yeah, one of the services was rather a big one. There was 3 small ones and a big one. And it's coming over £2,000, just over £2,000. And I expect next year will be the same, because there'll be more wear and tear. Tyres are inevitable. Servicing, I think if you service it regular, keep it on top of the servicing, it's going to be okay. You know, you're getting into the range. I'm doing 70,000 in a year. That's what most people do in probably 4 or 5 years. So I'm doing 4 or 5 years normal driving in 1 year. It's a lot of it's motorway and it is simple, but things will go wrong. Headlight bulbs, side bulbs. There's a lot of stuff, and it comes out. And my accountant's got all the stuff at the moment, but I worked it out. It's about 2,100, something like that. And I expect that next year. I'll perhaps even put a bit more on it, because I bet stuff like an alternator will go. You know, £2,500. Probably a new battery, an alternator. Stuff's going to go wrong on it. I've sort of made a decision. I'm going to keep the van. I really love the back of the van. I love tramping is not a problem. It's got no bulkhead. The heat comes through if it's in the winter. It's just airy. I like it. It's got felt, so it feels like carpet. It doesn't feel like a van. You know, I put top of mattress underneath me. I've got a sleeping bag. I've got shelves to put stuff. I can put my laptop. I've got lights and plugs. Yeah, it's set up. It's a good van. Would I get another Berlingo? I probably would. But I think the Berlingo, the Partner, and the Combo are about all the same. They're the same sort of van. They look the same. They've only got different badges and a few tweaks here and there. Would I get a different one? I would be tempted to go for a Combo, because I had a Combo before this one, which we had for 10 years, which Chuggaboom she's called. Well, she's gone now. Darren, my mechanic's got it. Sold it to him because we didn't need it. We got another car for the wife, so didn't need the little chugger, and couldn't afford to keep 4. I've got 4 motors sat there. There's only 2 of us. And Darren he'd give me a good price for it. He's got a good van for him. He knows it's good because he services it. But all in all, I'm really happy. Another thing I got was a spare key because I hadn't got a spare key for it, which was strange. He'd lost it, the key, the bloke in Scotland lost the key. So I got a spare key for it, got one made up. That was 120 quid, a really good key. Because Citroen keys are crap. They're bloody things like that, and they're rubbish. Got a nice key, really good key, and that cost me 100 and something quid as well. So, yeah. Would I get another one? I probably would. Would I get an L2? I don't know. I think I'll get away with it. I've never been where I've thought I needed a longer van. And the reason for that is I've got no bulkhead and my seats go forward so I can get long stuff in. I've done BMW parts and stuff where I've even put bloody BMW doors. I've put bumpers for BMW, winch, everything. Yeah, I've put longer stuff through. I've put long bits of carpet. They go through to the front. So I wouldn't get a bulkhead. I definitely wouldn't get one with a bulkhead. Because I love the fact the heat goes through to the back. If I'm in the back and kipping, tramping, it certainly works better. I've been tempted to look at a combo. I've had a look at a combo, the newer ones, because the next model up, they're more boxy-like. Mine's more streamlined. They're more of a box-like. And I like them. I like the combo. I like the Peugeot. I really like a Transit, but a Transit Connect, but I can't afford one because they're about 3 or 4 grand dearer. And I just don't see justify the price. They do look more car-like, which is nice. But it's important when you've got a van, you've got a something that you're happy with, because you're in it for ages. You know, I'm in mine it can be from 5 in the morning till 6 at night, or I'm in it for a minimum of 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And if you're tramping in one night or 2 nights, you're in it for longer than you are your own house. So it's got to be worth getting something decent. But you've got to make it pay as well. Mine's got cruise control. Anything I want with a van, the most important thing is cruise control. One, that's the top of the list. Definitely. I do like a DAB radio. I like the quality of the sound. I listen to the radio all the while. I've got the radio on, talk sport normally, on all day up until about 1 o'clock. I ain't too fussed about the afternoon presenters, so I'll perhaps go to Radio 2. Or 5 Live, or something different, or even TalkSport 2. I always find something smooth, or magic. I always find some music. But definitely cruise control. That's massive for me. Because I know then I can just put it on cruise and just sit there and let the world do whatever it's doing. So that's all in all, happy with the van. But I'm going to, next year's budget, I've already sort of put my estimates for next year. I've put for 2.5 grand. And that's without tax, without insurance. That's just it. Everything else with the van, I think 2.5 grand. If it's any more, it's going to have to be done. If it's any less, it's a bonus. I won't need to do the cam belt or the water pump next year because it's 100,000 and I shall only be doing 70. So that's 340 quid I ain't going to spend. But you can guarantee there's going to be something as expensive go wrong with it because we hammer them. We do hammer them. Although you say, treat them gently, drive them carefully, they do get used. They're for using and they get used. So I hope you're all happy with your own vans. I hope it's all going well. I hope that helps. That's what I quote. That's what I allow a year, 2.5k for next year. It was it was over 2 grand this year, and I think as the van gets older, it's gonna have a few more niggly things maybe go wrong. So it's 2.5 grand next year. Cheers, guys.